Happy day, fams. It's Jonva of Live Life, Be Happy 24/7. And you know what I want to say? Thank you. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day. So, to all the mothers around the world, I just want to say much love and thank you for being that inspirations in our life. You know, today's a special day for many reasons. I want to say thank you to our fams, Radio Wigwam over there in the UK and a slice of Canada because we're doing great things and we're happy for all your support that you've been giving us. But more importantly, we have a special guest here, a friend to the show. I would say a phenom on the guitar, and that is Michael J. Miller, who goes by MJM. Michael is a composer, total badass guitarist who brings the heat that sets the blaze and temperature in his music. I'm so honored to have MJ stop over to do this beautiful interview, especially on Mother's Day. So welcome, Michael. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. Thanks very much, Jonva. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, and it's a wonderful day.
Well, that's it is. It is a wonderful day. So I know it's been a while trying to get you here, but I know, like I said, you have a busy schedule as the amazing musician that you are. So I'm very thankful that you're able to take some time out today to do this interview with me.
My pleasure.
I always like to go in like a power chord. So with that, I just want to say kudos on Oh Canada. That was an amazing, amazing performance that you did for a slice of Canada. And I want to say to you, definitely you got to walk me through that process on how you got that track to kind of spin like that.
Well, it's that's a nice question because to tell you the truth, I had been thinking about the arrangement for that song for years and thinking how I could turn it into a guitar presentation. So of course I had to study it and listen to the bass lines move and the supporting chords underneath the melody that everyone is familiar with.
Okay.
So I kind of figured that out a number of years ago, but never really got around to recording it until you asked for a version to send to Radio Wigwam and for the other shows that you're doing. So I slipped it together. The guitar melody that's singing the voice, "Oh Canada," was something I had to work out on my guitar to get all the right notes and everything. It was pretty cool to play it in a sophisticated guitar sort of style with the heavy power chords in the background. And I was quite pleased by how the whole thing came together.
Well, like I said, it was great work. And I'm going to have to equate that as almost like Jimi Hendrix. Yes. Because I listened to it, I played it back, and I hear what you were doing. And the way that you brought the emotions into that performance, like I said, man, you hit it straight on point. So great work with that.
That's a very nice compliment. Thanks so much. I enjoy listening to it myself. Even when I put it on, I'm thrilled actually by the impact it has on myself. I get goosebumps when I listen to my own recording, so that's cool.
Nice, nice. Now, I was noticing something. Like I said, I always like to do a deep dive with my guests, so the audience can kind of get a feel and insight on all the great things that brought you to where you are now in your career. And what was interesting is that you have a very impressive bio. So I was like in total awe, and how I noticed that you won quite a bit of very prestigious awards over the year. So I'm going to sit back here and I'd like you to share with us the story of the MJM journey with our international family around the globe.
Well, MJM started around the year 2000, but I actually had a recording history before that with a number of recording acts. My first recording act was a metal band called Rapid Tears, and we had a few albums out. They're now signed to Sonic Age Records, called Metal Classics in Europe.
Okay.
And there's a number of books that have come out covering our impact on the rock and metal industry in Canada here. So Rapid Tears ran its course, and then what happened was the band had some problems and the singer left for Sweden. And I tried keeping the band going and getting another singer, but it didn't work. Right. So I had to rename the band with some of the members and new members. And we called the new act Adrenaline. And we got a German record deal with a label called Long Island Records. And we released the album Dedicated, it was called. And it's quite a strong album. It's funny, it was released all across Europe and Asia and Japan and all that, and it never got an American deal, which was pretty weird,
Right.
right? Yeah, it's kind of a drag. It kind of put the brakes on things for some, yeah, as you can imagine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that was too bad. And then uh, there wound up being some problems again, and that's when I decided to go solo and not count on a lead singer,
Right.
because as what happened with Rapid Tears and Adrenaline, when the singer all of a sudden goes AWOL, we're left without an identity until we have someone to replace them that
Right.
is appropriate, which is that's probably the hardest member to replace as a singer and someone that everyone will accept, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I had always been writing the songs anyways, so I just had to get good at my vocals and sing my own songs, and that's what I've been doing since the turn of the millennium.
Nice. I checked out some of your stuff, man. You sound great. So, like I said, I don't think you really need the singer. I mean, they had you, and you look like you've done the job very well, my friend.
Thanks, it's been a blast creating my own vocal parts. My producer has a good amount of input when it comes to the vocal arrangements, and I'm quite happy to work with him because sometimes it's a lot to put together. I mainly write the songs myself in my recording studio here,
Right.
and then the producer will go over stuff. And the lyrical content and sometimes the vocal arrangements are what he plays a big role in, as well as the engineering.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Now, thank you for sharing that because I always like, with fellow musicians, we all have a process. And I know a lot of us don't want to give away secrets, but I'm like, guess what? Sharing doesn't hurt because that's how we inspire the next generation, to achieve to their own successes. So,
I
you know,
agree.
yeah, thank you for sharing that. Now, with that said, who were your inspirations growing up that helped shape your mastery of heavy metal guitar playing?
Well, we'll have to say, as you mentioned a few minutes ago, Jimi Hendrix
Yeah,
was number one when it came down to guitar.
right.
Um, Prior to Jimmy, I love the Beatles. Of course, they were masters at songwriting and vocals, and they were maybe the first band that I did hear a heavy guitar in. But when Jimi Hendrix came along with his new sound and style, it freaked out playing.
Right.
That just changed the world for me, and I think it changed the world of music and rock, really.
Yeah.
Um, so that's when I really started to notice how impressive guitar playing can be. And I took quite an interest in it at an early age.
But what I like about the guitar, because I play myself, is that there's so many ways that you can go, and it's endless. It's
So
totally
true.
endless. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not fight. It's totally endless, and that's what allows you the freedom to go wherever you want to go and do whatever you want to do. And like I said, other instruments sometimes you're kind of constrained, but the guitar, it's not like that.
Yeah, especially today with all the different amp sounds you can get, and
Yeah, yeah.
from clean to super heavy and all the nice effects that you can put on it. And then it's up to your imagination to do what has never been done before.
Yeah, all right. I like the guitars that you have in the back. I see some Strats. I see some couple of things in there. So, pretty cool stuff there, man. I might have to
Yeah.
come to Canada, got to pop up in your studio and check it out.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
With the global pandemic, there were a lot of uncertainties, and from one creative to the next, I have to ask you, how did you transition, from being a touring musician to putting things on pause for a moment? How did that work for you?
It was actually really bad timing, to tell you the truth, because the last album, MJM 4, came out 3 weeks before the announcement of the lockdown.
Mm,
Yeah, it came out in February of 20, well, whatever year the pandemic happened. And in March, everybody was told to go home and don't come out. And if you do, wear a mask. And I had a number of magazines uh, that wanted to do reviews on us. And they even wrote me and said, we're not even going to bother publishing right now because people aren't coming out to magazine stands and they're not buying uh, our publications. We're not going to bother publishing anything until this whole lockdown thing is over.
mhm.
So it really put a damper on things as far as that goes, and it left me to dealing with the social media.
Yeah. And I think I can kind of support you on that. It was like flip the switch to something new and make it happen and learn along the way, you know.
Yeah. I'll also add to that. Even when we were, and this is about a year later after the pandemic started, we were shopping our single to the radio stations. I had our label, Current Records, approaching all the radio stations across Canada to review the single for airplay. And the response we got back from most stations, and this is a year after the lockdown,
Right.
the response they gave back was, "We're really sorry. We're not even holding meetings right now. Half of our people aren't even coming into work. We're not reviewing any new material for airplay."
Oh, wow.
And we got that back from about 45 out of 50 stations.
Hmm.
And the
Yeah.
other five said, "Well, yeah, we're considering playing it."
Yeah, those were interesting times, man. And my takeaway was that I forged a lot of friendships and relationships around the globe. So like I said, more than where I'm at in Boston and in the States. So that was interesting. But you know, this thing that we call social media, you can make it work in a positive sense where it helps you grow. And I think you could attest to that.
Most certainly. It's a big nut to crack.
Yeah.
That's for sure. There more and more every day there's all sorts of different platforms that you can get onto, and some are more worth your while than others.
Mhm.
And I found that maintaining the main ones that everyone uses is number one. There's all sorts of promo companies out there. You kind of have to watch what companies you get involved with
Oh,
too.
sure.
Some of them are running bots for fake views and streams and all that, and you don't want to have that going down, and getting your account banned or anything. So,
Okay, totally, totally. Well, thank
yeah.
you for sharing that. I'm a Berkeley graduate and coming from a very prestigious place like Berkeley, contemporary institution in the world. And I know you came from someplace pretty interesting. Want to share where you came from?
Well, yes, the London College of Music in England,
Wow.
which
Tell us
is,
about that, man.
well, it's great. The way I discovered it actually was I was working as a guitar teacher, and I found an ad for what was called RGT, which is the Registry of Guitar Tutors. And I looked into it and found out that it was an accredited guitar program for the London College of Music. It was a separate department
Right.
for LCM.
Mhm.
And I checked into it, and I got to be friends with the headquarters, the guy that was running the headquarters for Canada.
Mhm.
And so he sent me the material. He sent me all the books and everything. I said, "Yeah, I really want to look at all this stuff."
Okay.
And up to a certain amount of grades, I went, "Yeah, I get all this." And then I started looking at more stuff, going, this is pretty good. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm even learning as I'm looking at this stuff,
Okay.
figuring it out. So I went through the whole thing, and then I actually got my teacher's degree
Nice.
with the London College of Music for guitar,
Nice.
RGT. Yeah.
Well, congratulations on that because that's something that I always say it only helps you be better. So when I noticed that, I was like, oh, I'm going to ask you about that. And I know you put in a lot of work to that, and it shows. It shows in the music and it shows in what you're doing. So again, kudos on that, my friend.
Thanks
Now,
very much.
what's new on the horizon for MJM? Any new projects?
Well, yes, there's a new single that we've been working on for the past few months. It's called "Live It Up," and it's quite a positive song. It's I hate to use the term, almost a 3 or 4 chord song,
Wow.
but it's really rocking. It's really kicking butt. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
we're just in the final mix down stages right now, getting it ready to master and release.
Mhm.
And we'll be releasing it first on Spotify as pre-saves, first of
Okay.
all.
Okay, great. I definitely want to check it out. I'd love to see it make a slice of Canada, which I know it probably will because you are just type of top class musician. So, like I said, I'll be waiting for it. With that, I didn't want to leave my co-pilot out. I want to say thank you to Wanda Ryan, my co-pilot in a slice of Canada, for putting this interview together because she really works hard to just kind of make the magic happen. So I just wanted to say to her, thank you. I know you guys are good friends and very honored. She said you had to do the interview. I was like, oh yes, I've been waiting for this. You finally here. So I was like, Wanda, if you can hear me, thank you for this.
Yeah,
Um,
why not? Thank you.
yeah, yeah. As we do with all our show guests, I'm going to ask you for a quote that can resonate with our global audience, something that they can embrace and also help them navigate their journey and dream. So take a moment, kind of let it resonate and just kind of flow with it.
Well, I'm going to use a quote that was given to me by a very significant musician,
Mhm.
and that is Tony Iommi from Black Sabbath.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
I had the pleasure of meeting him, and we sat and drank beer for hours together.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, it wasn't a quick. Actually, I met him twice. The first time was quick, and next time we got together, we sat for hours. And I had to ask one final question too before the night was done. And my question was, do you have one tip of good advice for me and other musicians? And he said, well, just as I had to follow, if you get a band together and it seems like you've got a good band, he said, really stick together.
Nice,
Stick together, because starting over is a lot harder than keeping it together,
nice.
even though it's hard to keep it together.
You know,
Stick together.
that was great advice because to go to these workshops to kind of get a phenom like that to sit down would cost you quite a bit of money. you know,
Yeah.
and you got that over some beer. So, like I said, you prospered well on that, my friend.
Yeah.
All right.
And I can say that I've managed to do that with MJM. We've been together 20 years.
Wow. That's amazing because you don't see that type of longevity with bands. It's like once they're off to the ground, it's usually the singer wants to go solo, or there's some kind of, like I say, ripple in the band, maybe
For
some
sure.
ego issues. you
Yeah.
know?
That's what happened in my previous two recording acts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's great, man. Thank you for sharing that. Now, lastly, I always like to share with our global audience, where can we find MJM support projects, music, shows, all the above? You have the platform, my friend, so let it flow.
Well, for anyone in around the Toronto area, we're playing at the Rock Pile next month, June
Okay.
30th.
Mhm.
That's a Friday night.
Mhm.
But of course, if you're not from Toronto, you can find us on YouTube, Michael J. Miller Band.
Okay.
Okay. And our brand is at MJM Rocks.
Okay.
Okay. So if you Google at MJM Rocks, that'll get you to our SoundCloud page, or
Mhm.
that's our Instagram handle. And that'll get you our Facebook page too,
Okay.
MJM Rocks.
Well, that's great. Well, Michael, I just want to say thank you again for taking this time to come on, live life, be happy 24/7. Like I said, you're an amazing musician. Continue to shine. I always like to do a follow back with my guests to see where they are. And, we always like to support. I just want to say again, kudos to you and your band and to your greatness, my friend. And like I said, always onward and upward, brother.
Those are beautiful words, Jonva. Thank you very much. Onward and upward we shall go.
That's right. All right, then.
Thank,
Take care,
thanks
man.
very much for the wonderful interview.
All right, then.